swords.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Let the games begin.
Hello and welcome to Velen's Chosen. We're here ready to buff your game. We exist to help budget players stay competitive on the ladder and end every season just a bit higher than the last, no matter what your card pool is.
I will not be trifled with.
Or you won't.
So what's that one
Get
from?
that. That would be the Naga Sea Witch, the epic card out of our last wing that we just released before this week.
The one that makes all of your minions cost 5?
And spells.
And
cards.
spells.
Yeah.
All your cards cost 5. Okay.
Yep. All right, so on today's episode, we're going to be covering the Wing 4 of the Hall of Explorers, in the League of Explorers expansion. We'll cover all the cards real quick and how they relate to your budgets as far as if your card collection is missing certain things. We're going to try to say where these things will fit, if they create new archetypes or if they will fit into existing ones. And then we're going to talk through the boss encounters themselves on normal and how we struggled through some of them on heroic. And then we'll take some emails. We'll go through some brief, really exciting news that's going on for budget players. And then we'll end the show by letting you know where we can find us and read some iTunes reviews.
But hey, are you going to tell them who's on the show first?
Yep. That's where we usually start, isn't it? So we got Andrew Brown on the left corner.
What's up?
Over here. So we got Andrew Brown and we have Evemartyn
On the left corner, like everyone can see us on Skype.
on the right corner. The second left corner, as it were, the Michigan left.
There you go.
All right. So, guys, let's briefly, before we jump in, where are you guys at on ladder?
I'm not as well as I was last month. I'll say that. I think with everyone, there's so many deck archetypes on the ladder right now. I mean, and I'm right at 13. I peaked out at 10 and have just been struggling. It doesn't seem to me like there's a really clear this works, 90% of the time on the ladder. It seems like it's changing so much. People are, and especially with the adventure, each week it changes. People are trying different cards, different decks, and it's hard to keep up and find something that's consistent right now for me.
What are you playing?
And that might be the problem too. Because nothing seems to be working. I've tried so much. I tried a Mech Mage deck that I found from Krups. I tried a Murloc Paladin with Anyfin. I started doing Control Warrior lately, and that seems to be working fairly well. So I think I'm gonna try and sink my teeth
It's always
into
consistent.
that. And I tried some Face Hunter yesterday, and that's not.
Face Hunter just doesn't work right now.
No, it worked sometimes, but not very well. So,
all right, Eve. What about you?
So I'm at rank 17. I actually haven't been
she's
pushing.
crushing it.
I haven't been pushing that hard because I just was basically playing the adventure and getting through the heroics and having fun in casual mode, trying out different decks.
Mm-hmm.
But I did play a bit of Dragon Priest and a bit of the new Murloc Paladin and was having, decent fun with that. So probably going to use that going forward.
Sweet.
How about you, Rob?
Yeah, a lot of people have been playing that Murloc Pally list everywhere. I see that thing.
Mm.
It's like every third game.
It's fun.
It's fun, yeah. I mean, the one that I made where I just threw like every Murloc in did not do well. I just wanted to try it just because you never
Even
really
with tiny
know.
fins.
Yeah, even with tiny fins. Like just push Murloc in and then put them all in.
Yeah.
Put them all in the deck. Did not work well.
There you go.
But the one that just has like practically a mid-range paladin with just a couple Murlocs, that
Mm-hmm.
one actually did really well.
Yeah.
Did really decent. The only problem is the mirror match. Like,
the mirror match is brutal. It's like whoever draws in turn 10 first wins.
Well, whoever gets their Murlocs out first, right? Because anything you put out is going to be buffing theirs, so you don't want to put it out and make theirs stronger.
Because it's just any Murlocs.
The sequencing.
Any Murlocs. Like, most of their abilities, it's not just your Murlocs, it's all Murlocs. So if they have any on the board, suddenly they're stronger, they have more health. So yeah, it's tough against the mirror match, but it did decently against every other class that I went up against. So
the one thing I noticed, I can't remember who I was watching, but they were playing the new priest archetype that's been around with Entomb, and he was playing
that's
against.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, he was playing against a Murloc Paladin, and he entombed the war leader so that it
avoids the combo.
Yeah. So
yep.
Just put it in his deck. That's part of the
strategy. You save one for a war leader, and you save the other one for Tyrion.
So how's that deck treating you, Rob?
Okay, so I won't say that I've been crushing the ladder. I just haven't been playing a lot. But what I have been playing, I have been doing extremely well. I'm all the way up at 11, and I'm still on a win streak.
That's great.
And I've been, I think it's a five or 7 wins in a row with this Kibler list. And so if you go watch Kibler's stream, he's not playing the deck that I'm playing right now. This is like the 1.0 of the deck.
Okay.
And I don't know why, because it's so good.
Is that the one with the Auchenai and then the flash heals?
That's the bad one. That's the 2.0.
That's the bad. Okay, so that explains why I'm not crushing ladder with that.
Because the Auchenai one has like 2 flash heals, double Death Lords, double Thought Steal, 2 circles. It has 2 light bombs, 1 entomb maybe, and then it has maybe it has 2 entombs, double light bomb, and then 1 or 2 holy novas. And it's just like, it has lots of board clears and stuff, but it doesn't do what my deck has been doing. And I'm not saying it's mine because it is his, but he made it first, but he's not playing it anymore. Because he's going for
now it's mine.
it's basically like Auchenai, throw down some zombie chow, and then circle the board and do 5 damage, and then heal them for another 2 damage. Or you can Auchenai double flash heal for 12 with 6 mana is pretty good. And if you have 8 mana, you can do 14 because of your hero power. And then if you have Justicar in the deck as well, you can do an additional 2 more. So it goes up to 18 burst combo for 8 mana. But that is just so inconsistent to me because you're doing what all the pros say not to do, which is building your deck around 2 cards. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why people are doing that.
Well,
it's like Auchenai should be used as a board
Paladin,
clear.
Right? That's built around Mysterious Challenger.
No, it's built around the secrets of the deck. Because you have 6 secrets, I think 6 to 7 secrets, and then Mysterious Challenger's job is more or less drawing and pulling those secrets out of the deck.
It's basically built around his ability to pull secrets out. Like, he created the
it depends on how you look at it, because
it wouldn't have existed
secret
without.
keepers are what really make the deck strong. It's secret keepers plus the Mysterious Challengers.
It's all of it
4 cards.
It's all of it working together. I mean, you have to admit that the deck didn't work until Mysterious Challenger came around. There wasn't any kind of archetype that was viable. So that's a really significant part of the deck. But they are all
basically bridges the mid game. Yeah, to the late game.
He was the missing piece for everything to work together and create a really strong build.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So anyways, I can share the deck list if you guys want it. I've probably posted on Twitter 4 times. It's just so good.
Okay.
And the best part of the deck is it uses Paletris. So
which is cool.
Fun.
Okay, so Justicar
fun.
I don't own. Paletris I don't own.
Justicar you need.
Yeah.
Justicar is a card you probably should make.
And I don't have Light
Bomb. As a budget player. So
I don't know
maybe if we have
time.
If we have time, we'll go into that deck a little bit and what are key cards in it. Maybe we'll cover that next week on our show. But this week we got to cover the final wing. So let's jump into it. Eve, why don't you talk through boss number 1?
Skelosaurus Rex. So it gives a random card to you and the boss, which costs 0. Which was, to me, the first just on regular was super fun.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I beat it the first time through, and I don't really think it matters that much what kind of deck you bring to it. Like, if you just bring any decent deck that you have, you'd probably do well.
Sure.
On Heroic, only he gets the card.
Yep.
You don't.
That's a big deal.
And that
you gotta play around RNG.
Oh my gosh. it was one of those heroic fights which I really felt was unfair, and I may have even written a salty Twitter message
I
to
saw that.
Hearthstone when I got super frustrated at
Salt
one point.
is real.
Yeah, because he ended up pulling what's that card that I still don't have? Sylvanas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so that was like turn 1, and then turn 2 was Lord Rivendell. So he put that down.
Baron Rivendell?
Baron Rivendell. Yeah. So I was just like, yeah. So I'm not coming back from that.
Oh
Don't know how I'm going to win this. What deck did I end up beating him with?
I have it in the show notes.
So the Rogue mill deck. Because he pulls a card every single turn, and because he ends up putting
always filling his hand
a ton of cards on the board, that was another one of those fights that was like, okay, this is perfect for Mill Rogue. You get him to put a whole bunch of cards on, and then when you do the Vanish, it destroys them all. If he's got a full hand, you put Brand Bronzebeard in there and get
Pit Snakes.
Everything, yeah. So basically the same deck almost that I used last week to mill... Can't remember one of the bosses. I just reused for him. And it worked decently well. I mean, it took me like maybe 5 or 6 or 7 tries, but that is the deck that I eventually beat him with. It was a really frustrating one that just felt like you needed to get lucky. Like it wasn't even really that much about skill. It was like him not pulling, game-ending cards.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And there's just no... with heroic bosses, you got to remember that it takes a lot of luck to pull it out. You need you need a very, very strong deck, but it's also going to take luck for it to work in your favor.
Yeah, so all those people who are making their, like, when you go online and you search for the deck to beat these different bosses, and they're like,
try, easy
kill.
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh.
Win.
Don't get discouraged.
Easy win means 10 tries.
Yeah,
lies,
that's right.
all lies.
That's right.
You got really lucky and you beat him on the first try and nobody else did.
Yeah, Skelosaurus was actually one of the more fun fights on normal, I think.
Yes, it was pretty fun.
What do you thought? What were your thoughts on that one, Andrew?
It was fine. I mean, that one, I honestly don't remember which deck I used. I haven't had much time this week, so for me, I kind of was trying to just pile drive through them. So I didn't really get to enjoy the flavor as much, but the thing I didn't foresee with Skelosaurus, if you haven't played it yet, is that he gets to play his card before you do. I remember reading his hero power and thinking, oh, then it's even. It's not quite even because he gets
the initiative.
Yeah, he gets the initiative, which even on normal, you just got to watch out for how that's going to play out,
Yep. Okay, so Andrew, what cards are we getting with this boss?
We got the Tomb Pillager. Is that right? No, sorry.
That would be only on the
I'm sorry, that's class
challenge version.
I'm sorry. So we got Raven Idol, which is 1 mana druid spell. Lets you either discover a minion or discover a spell. Just a reminder, that's going to be a druid spell. And
druid minions and neutral minions.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one played yet, but I know there was a lot of talk about it beforehand that this could be a really strong card. So
yeah,
have you guys seen that one played at all? Or
well, it was popping up for me in the game, like in the different boss fights, like when they give you a deck and when you're given decks for class challenges and stuff. So I did use it a couple times. I've heard people say that the maximum amount of time you're going to want to choose a spell. How do you feel about that? Because I generally was behind in minions and I just was like, I just need a minion right now.
Sure.
But I don't know whether the value is in the druid spells because they're just generally good.
I think a big question is what's
the situation?
Yeah, what's the situation? And also, out of the druid spells, do I want any of them? Because there's some really not great ones. I mean, Savagery is as bad as it gets. And even like Mulch could be very effective, but it also might be, so... There's stuff like Savage Roar is going to be really important if you have a lot of minions on board. Force of Nature could clear the board a little bit. Even Starfall could be really powerful.
I can see it being used in like a mill rogue, or sorry, mill druid, because it's a cheap spell that you can dish out.
Yeah, that's
and you can get that versatility by saying I'm in this really tight spot and I need a minion, or I'm in a really tight spot and I just need to dump cards.
It gives you the card advantage, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
The
So
funny
I like
thing
this
about
card
it
a lot
is-
for arena too.
Since it is a spell itself, it can actually give you itself as a spell. That happened to me.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of
Yeah.
that.
So it's like, oh, I don't like any of these. I'll pick that one and try again.
That's funny.
Yeah. Synergize with Violet Teacher. Woo-hoo.
Oh, yeah. Just infinitely casting.
Yeah.
As long as you have mana.
Yeah, this has a very large pool to pull from for minions, though. So I would be warned if you're going to go for the minion route. Like, you could literally get anything from, like, Deathwing and Cenarius to a Leper Gnome. So,
Yeah.
like, it's a pretty big pool.
Well, and you are more likely to get the Druid minions. So,
Yeah.
and there's
Right.
some really strong ones. So you could get a Mounted Raptor or...
I did test run this card, not just in the normal and heroic version of Rafam Boss 3, but I did actually try making a deck for, I think it was Animated Armor. It was like a Mildred deck with this card.
Oh, that's fun.
And I got Mounted Raptor a lot.
Really? Okay.
Like a lot. I
It's-
think that was the one card I saw the most
It's not bad.
I
when
saw
I
it
was
a
going
lot,
for
too.
minions.
They're far worse
And then I
cards you
saw
could get.
Swipe probably the most for spells. I
Okay.
saw Swipe and Starfall.
That's pretty good.
Nice. The second card you're going to give is the Fossilized Devilsaur, of course, which is the 8 mana, 8/8 beast. Or, no, it's not a beast. But it has Battle Cry. If you control a beast, gain Taunt. So it becomes an Ironbark Protector. It's not...
If it meets requirements.
Yeah, if it meets requirements, which is okay, but not anything to write home about. So
Yeah, if you have it in a hunter deck, then you have a pretty good chance of being able to make it have taunt.
yeah.
I think this is a good point to bring up for our I guess, smaller collection listeners. Like, this is actually fusing the gap for 8 mana cards that we're missing as far as neutral cards for people to get in their collection. Like, I don't think there's a costed 8/8 vanilla minion that's in neutral. I think this is the only one. Because we have a 7/7 8 mana with Divine Shield that's Force Tank Max, but we don't have like an 8/8 body. So,
and I think, taunt is pretty good. It does die easily to big game hunter, but, so do a lot of other really good cards.
Yeah. So can you guys see Raven Idol? Like, this is kind of what I said when I guessed it on Coin Concede about this card on Wednesday, but like, I think Raven Idol is a card that some players that are missing cards in their collection can get away with running.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're looking for Force of Nature, or maybe you're looking just to get that second roar with your Egg Druid. I think this could really fit in that archetype. But we haven't really seen anything besides Aggro Druid, Ramp Druid, and Mill Druid, right? And then we have now the Egg Druid that just popped up again. So that we have 4 archetypes, and I think it could fit in almost any of them if you're missing cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
At least a
problem
one
is
of.
with some of the decks that are really refined is what do you take out and put this in? But if you are missing cards in your collection, then it is one of those that can potentially give you things that you don't own.
I can actually see
cool.
Ramp Druid replacing Living Roots with this card.
Yeah.
Because like it just gives you more options later.
That's true.
Like just the fact that you could get a second roar out of this is just insane.
Yeah.
Like
really
you're just getting
helpful.
to your combo faster. So, but again, it is that RNG chance. Like, what's your chance of getting that out of all of the Druid spells? I haven't actually done the math on that, but I think if you're looking for one spell, I don't think it's worse than like a 10% chance you can pull it, which is pretty good odds. And it's a 1 of 3. So, all right. Steel Sentinel. Andrew, I'll go through this one actually, and then I'll have Eve, you read the cards. So Steel Sentinel was the second boss, and his hero power is that he will only take 1 damage at a time. And then if you play him on heroic, that extends to his minions. So his minions get like this blue divine shield that they only take 1 damage at a time.
Oh my gosh. This is so tough.
I'll just get this out of the way. A lot of people will disagree with me on this, but for me, this was the hardest boss I have yet to face. Period.
Yeah.
Like, I've had the most trouble with any boss on any heroic wing with Steel Sentinel. This is the hardest one.
And I will say how thankful I am after playing against him that is not an actual hero power that can be used by other players. Because
like we thought that Steel Sentinel was going to be maybe played, but kind of bad. And we're like, well, maybe if you gave him the heroic ability while he sat on the field, he would be played in Freeze Mage. Nope, that would be so broken, you don't even know.
Nope. I'm so thankful that it's just 4 health that you have to take away, and then he's gone. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I think you could give him the
fight, definitely.
Yeah.
Was it the strategy of how to take him down, Rob? What was the big thing that was really frustrating?
Honestly, for me, I was trying to actually do a lot of these fights for about 4 hours without using any net decking, like just pushing myself like I can build this, I can make this, and I'm asking other players like what archetypes you think would be good against this, and not like what specific cards. But they kept feeding me specific cards, and I'm like, okay, maybe that would be good, and this would be good. But the problem wasn't that I couldn't clear his minions even. The problem was that I couldn't keep up with damage. Like, he's basically got what the perfect face warrior deck wants. A crap ton of weapons that just deal tons of damage to your face, and then none of his minions take enough damage, and he has taunts that block you. And then Armor Smiths just ruin your day.
Oh, Armor Smith. Man, he gets behind a big taunt, and you have to hit it so many times to kill it, and she's just racking up the armor. And then you have to hit her 4 times to kill her.
And then you give him 4 health in the process.
It was one thing after another.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect all those Divine Shield minions. I mean, if you're not running Flame Wakers, then you can't win, I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
or
there
Knife
are
Juggler.
2 big strategies for this
Juggler,
one. Is Knife Juggler decks with any archetype. Then you also have the Equality Survivalist Paladin with double Avenging Wrath, which is what I ended up doing.
And Repentance.
And Repentances and Annoyotrons and Tournament Medics, and like it was ridiculous.
Man.
So, and Muster for Battle with the what was it called? The Knife Juggler. But then like I watched Amaz sit down and one-shot this with his stupid RNG on fight with Flame Wakers and like a regular tempo mage, and it made me like hate my life. I was like, I literally fought that boss 40 times. And you just get the God draw against this card, and that's like so fair. And you don't want to know why he won? He didn't even see a single Armor Smith he saw one Armor Smith the whole fight.
Wow.
And that's what did it for me. I was like, I can't.
Somebody's salty.
Man, I'm so mad.
The other thing that gets around them is the destroy minions, like my Exna and
poison
what
minions,
are the other
basically.
ones? The Cobra
Snake,
and stuff like
Cobra.
that. Yeah, they will insta kill those things. So if you end up having something up against you, like a Tyrion or something, then those can be super helpful.
We should probably move on to the cards, though. Eve, you want to
let's see the cards. We'll talk about those. So, Eve, why don't you run us through cards here?
Steel Sentinel, Cursed Blade, which came in very handy later on. The 1 mana warrior weapon, 1/3, double all damage done to your hero. I have no idea why you would want to use this in a deck yet. There may be an archetype later that you might want to use it in, but it was really helpful taking down a boss later on. Museum Curator, 2 mana priest minion, 1/2, Battlecry, discover a random Death Rattle minion, which was really interesting.
Yeah. I saw
this card's awesome.
That was one card that Kriparian had to redo his reviews for the set. He had his initial thoughts, and then he had like okay, I'm going to talk about the cards I think I was wrong about, and that was one of them, because Death Rattle minions are really powerful.
Sylvanas, I got her right off the bat.
Oh wow, really?
Like she was
I got
one of the
Karen
first
on my
things.
first play.
Yeah,
With this card.
Dang.
The Shredders, like all the Shredders.
Mm-hmm.
Shredders, Sky Golem, Sneeds.
Yeah.
And then you get Dark Cultist literally like every other time I play this. He's one of the options.
Right,
It's
because
so
that's
good.
the priest.
And
Is
you
that
curve
because
out
only
to turn
Death
3.
Rattle?
Yeah.
That's the only Death Rattle on Priest.
Yeah. So since they have a higher chance, you see that one a lot too. So that can definitely round out your hand. Yeah.
So I think this card is so good for filling in gaps for players that are like, I'm only spending money on adventures type budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the
this
chances
card
of you
fills in
getting
so
a
much
Death
gap.
Rattle minion that's a legendary is pretty decent.
You can get Sneeds.
How many do we have besides Sneeds?
Well, you got Fugan and Stalag, which are not
Fugan,
great.
Stalag, Sylvanas, Cairn, Sneeds. That's 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it, actually.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, because a couple of other ones that I was
no.
are...
Blood Mage Thalnos.
Blood Mage Thalnos, yeah. Because some of the other ones are class legendary, so they wouldn't count. You wouldn't get them.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I might have just been
lucky, dope to get
but every
Ronin
time
off
I used
this.
it...
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Imagine if you got Ronin and Priest. I know. I'm just like theory crafting.
But
Imagine if Museum Curator got you freaking
Museum
Ronin.
Curator from Unstable Portal. No, that's too much.
Dude, it could happen.
It could.
Unstable Portal.
It could.
I wonder if you can go back to the Unstable Portal boss fight in Max or Blackrock and like do the infinite portals and get the new cards now. You could probably have some fun with that now.
Fun thing. I don't know if you guys watch the video and you know, but if you change your character, like you become Ragnaros, Discover now gives you all the cards.
So it goes with any class?
Oh,
yes. If you are Ragnaros and you use a Discover mechanic, it draws from the entire card pool.
Wait a minute. Guys, I'm having a flashback all of a sudden. Skelosaurus dropped a Major Domo my first game.
That's how you beat him.
And that was easy. I totally forgot.
That's great.
Sorry, that was
so funny.
Into Ragnaros?
Yeah,
Major Domo's another legendary.
Like, that's easy. Yeah, sorry, I didn't even think about that.
Right, because he has Death Rattle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want him, though. Anytime anyone has ever dropped him against me.
I'll take a Nerubian egg over him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It might be...
so Cursed Blade, why was this good? Well,
it's not.
It's not. It's not even good in Arena because it's a rare. It's so stupid. Like, why did they make this card a rare?
Well, I'm trying to wrap my head around possibly something in the future having something to do with doing damage to yourself, or...
I can see something where, like... If there's some sort of card that they start releasing where you can swap weapons with your opponent or give your opponent your current weapon.
It's a nerf to Blingtron because he's been being played so much often, you know. So
that would be awesome if you tried Blingtron and your opponent got this. That would be, you would leave it up there.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to boss 3, Rafam number 1.
So
very crazy fight.
Yeah, I read beforehand like what his dialogue was, and so I kind of knew going into it. I was like, I think I need to he'll steal my deck at some point, and so I need to make a bad deck, which is a lot of fun to think through.
Oh yeah,
how do I make a bad deck? You know,
any budget player can beat this boss.
Yes, absolutely.
Put in all the crappiest cards you own, and you'll...
Then I suck because it was a little trickier than that. I just went in and put in all of the worst cards I could think of, and he beat me a couple times on regular.
It took me 3 times.
It's because of the portal.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought I could put in buff cards and it'd be fine, but that actually played to his style, so you can't do that.
Yeah, I just put in like really low cost minions and like horrible minions. Yeah. And he ended up being able to cast so many of them, plus his portal, that he overran me, and
he just flooded the board
4 times to beat him on regular.
The portal stuff is, you're gonna have
shenanigans you can't play around.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to play a few times potentially just to get through the bad games and keep moving.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, there was 2 main strategies if you guys are still struggling through Rafam even on normal, because I know that this is probably the closest fight besides like the ones that you don't build the deck for that the players kind of had problems with for normal modes. And that is, even if your cards are quote unquote bad and you don't have the right rare cards to give him, you can play a lot of very high cost minions, just fill your deck with like 8 mana minions or something like that.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Or
I tried that.
Spells or
it didn't work either.
Spells, and then
That's the second time I died.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got enough stuff out of the portals to make it to the late game, and then just started hitting me with all the legendaries that I had stuck in his deck. Yeah,
so you can do whatever you want for that one. And the other strategy was to fill your deck with minions that say can't attack, besides Argent Watchman, because he uses his hero power every time, thus can attack.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put that in there. But I
Ancient
put in
Watcher, Eerie Statue.
Ancient Watchers, Eerie Statue. I also put in Angry Chickens and
well, you don't get Eerie Statue until you finish boss 3. So that you're talking about heroic?
Yeah, so if you're doing heroic, you could put Eerie Statues in there.
Yeah, unfortunately you can't use it until you finish that one, so you couldn't
Right.
Use it on the
and then I
regular.
also gave him cards that were just rares, like the Angry Chicken.
Oh yeah, you do want to play the rares.
And then what's the other one? Target Dummy was actually really good.
Yeah.
And then you always, like Eve was saying to me last night, it's just mulligan for the rare Spear. Because every time he plays a rare card, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you give him the Cursed Blade from Boss 2. Because he plays it, and then by the time he plays it, you have like 9 damage on your weapon, and you hit him in the face for 18.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that's how I beat him.
That's exactly how I beat
What
him.
cards did we get from this boss?
Basically,
I'll actually
it
go
was
through
called
these
the
if you
Blue
want.
Warrior deck. You make a warrior deck with the Cursed Blade in it, and then everything else is blue. So that your blade, you got to mulligan for that and get it as soon as you can. And as soon as it gets out, every time he plays a blue, it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you smork him in the face.
That's good.
Yep.
And it also increases the durability, not just the attack power.
Yeah, it's like a Captain Greenskin on the weapon.
Yeah. So it's really awesome.
Nice.
All right, so the 2 cards we got for this boss is Curse of Rapham, which is a 2-mana Warlock spell. Give your opponent a cursed card that deals 2 damage to them at the beginning of their turn if they're holding it. And that card costs 2 mana to get rid of, and it does nothing. Then we also have the Wobbling Runts, the 6-mana 2/6 minion with a Death Rattle summon 3 2/2 runts.
I like the Wobbling Runts.
They're cute, but they're not going to be played.
But they give you
Three 2/2
I actually want to put
creatures.
I want to put a 1 of the Wobbling Runts as a substitution card for people wanting to play Raptor Rogue. I think this card's really, really good in Raptor Rogue.
I mean,
Keeps your board
it's kind of...
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
It's not... If you think about it, it's not like Dr. Boom in that he comes right out with the 2 boom bots. But the fact that you can get 3 minions
Sticky
as a death rattle can be very advantageous depending on what kind of deck you're running.
Yeah.
I think everyone looks at it and says, "Oh, Cabal Shadow Priest. Hello, this is my friend."
Yeah.
But
Those my runts now.
I mean, there's nothing worse than when you have a turn, you play something strong, your opponent has an answer that completely negates it. So that's why Entomb is a really strong card, because you could spend all your mana playing
Shuts down
Tyrion,
Paladins.
and then, excuse me, I'll take that, So it's hard to figure out exactly.
I was just trying to
don't
think
know.
of all the decks that need lots of minions on the board.
I think what you said is
You
right
know?
on the money, Eve. The problem with it is you don't get an immediate effect. You have to wait and kind of.
You have to wait for the death
But Curse of
rattle.
Rapham is interesting. I heard Amaz talking about it. He was saying that this is the card an aggro deck wants, because you want
It just keeps pushing more.
Yeah, you want for your opponent to be behind you, and this makes them a little bit more behind you. Basically, I mean they can play it and then nothing happens, but it takes away 2 mana crystals. Basically, if you read it that way,
right?
That it they can leave it in their hand, but if they do that, they're going to take damage. Which if you're playing aggro, you want that anyway. So you might see this in some Zoo decks. Maybe the hard thing is it's a spell, so that goes against Zoo theology. But
right,
we'll see.
I think this deck this card could fit in a lot of decks for Warlock, because Warlock is, I think besides Mage, Warlock has the most archetypes right now, right? They've got Zoo, they've got Demon Zoo, they have Traditional Zoo, they have Reliquary Zoo,
They have Reno.
and that's just the Zoo ones. And then they have like 2 or 3 different versions of Reno that are strong. They have the Malygos list, and then they have the Traditional Handlock and the Demon Handlock. That's a lot of archetypes for one deck, or one class. But like, I think Curse of Rapham is what I would say is kind of a sleeper card. It's one of those cards that if you're playing a Reno deck that you kind of would like to have in there, just because it's another card. It does 2 damage to the hero. It's kind of your finisher. I am actually wanting to run a test run with one of you guys eventually, like this weekend or something, with Curse of Rapham and Malygos. Like, how does that work?
Oh, it won't work.
It doesn't.
Does it
because your
not work
opponent
because
has
they
it.
don't? They have to have the spell damage modifier.
Yeah, it goes into their hand, so it's all their effects would affect it.
Maybe if you play the Jungle Moonkin and give both no, I don't think so.
Yeah, then you have to bridge like 2 classes.
Yeah, spell damage is just if you're playing a card on your turn, so I don't think.
Yeah, and then I would also be interested, the reverse is true, if you're playing against a Malygos Warlock and you play a Curse of Rapham and they draw it and Malygos is on the field before they burst you, or they dead, because that's 7 damage that they're going to take.
I don't know about that. I don't know if spell damage would affect that.
It won't. I don't think. But we can try it out.
I think it only
see what
affects
happens.
cards that are played, not cards that are just held.
Well, I don't know about that because if you have spell minions on the board and you look at cards in your hand, the text has changed while they're sitting in your hand, right?
Right.
But it's going to be in their hand. I we don't need to speculate. We can try it out. I'm pretty convinced it won't work. But
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think you want to run more than one of these in your deck. If you want to test it out, go for it. I think it's interesting. I think it will find a place eventually, and it will be sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Okay, boss 3. Andrew, why don't you cover boss for this one?
Mega Rafam. So you could find an artifact, which was fun for 0 mana.
So fun.
And all the little guys are like, "Here, take this, man. This will help you out." And
there's so much dialogue on this fight.
Yeah.
After doing this enough times in Heroic, it gets very mundane.
which is fun. But then your opponent can, he's got the staff, and so basically for 3 turns he's immune, and then all of a sudden for 1 turn you've got to burst him down, and he'll get a really powerful minion. You kind of have to play. I mean, we don't have enough time to go through every little artifact you can get, every minion that he summons, but it's a very very jam-packed boss fight. It was a lot of fun, I thought.
I was afraid on Heroic that they were going to make it harder by taking away the help that the curators give you, but they still help you, and the artifacts are still awesome. So I actually beat it the first try on Heroic.
Oh, did you? Nice.
What?
Okay.
Yes.
That's insane.
First try. So fun. Like, I don't
Did
know
you
if
use
it was
Dragon Priest,
just...
though?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
All
And,
right.
okay, so this is why I won. I did the Discover mechanic that they give you, and it got 3 Vol'jins.
Oh, the discover a minion and put 3 copies in your hand?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I got that
Okay.
artifact, and I chose
That's
Vol'jin.
ridiculous.
And so every time he put down a huge 10/10 minion, put down Vol'jin, stole the health, and killed it. No problem.
bad.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is
so
absurdly
I already
easy.
had a Vol'jin
Give
in
me
my
3
deck,
Vol'jins
so
and I
all
could beat it.
together I had 4 Vol'jins. Plus, all the cool artifacts that they give you to help and stuff. Yeah, so
Man.
it was super lucky.
So when Eve you were fighting this boss, we know that the spirits were truly restless.
That's right.
The spirits be restless.
So it's probably not going to be that easy, but I actually found that one to be
That's
quite
crazy.
fun because of all the help they give you and the crazy artifacts they give you.
I used
fun.
Mill Rogue against this boss.
Oh, okay.
And it took a long time.
But it worked.
Oh my gosh.
I think it took me like 25 tries.
Jeez.
I would suggest Dragon Priest because they have a lot of removal and you have
the
like a
legendaries
good
do it.
ramp. Yeah. Yeah, if you got it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And the cards we get from this are the Eerie Statue that we mentioned, the 4 mana 7/7. He can't attack unless it's the only minion on the field. That's counting both sides. And it's funky.
That card sucks.
That card's so bad.
There was never a point at which
Because they give you this stupid card against the boss
when he steals your deck and they're like, here, use a deck we made. Oh my gosh, such a useless card. It made me so angry to have it sitting there doing nothing. You could silence it.
You have to compare it to the Ancient Watcher. So 2 mana, 4/5 can't attack. So this has one potential scenario where he can. And in that scenario, very powerful card. Your options are to either silence him or taunt him to guarantee that he's actually doing something on the board. And neither of those are really fruitful overall, or valuable. So I don't know that he's going to see any
How does he compare to Ancient Watcher?
I mean,
for like
he's
putting
not,
in a
he's not
handlock
as
deck or
good.
something?
Well, if you think about the Ancient Watcher, 4/5, double that, because this is 4 cost. So he should be kind of an 8/10, by compare.
He should be mammoth.
He has the one cat. So if he read can't attack, he has to be an 8/10. But because he has one,
but he has that caveat.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so they're kind of balancing it out a little bit. But so not really powerful, but okay. But
I will say one thing about this card, which we'll close on Eerie Statue. this is another tool that they're giving that one druid archetype or one whatever deck archetype that you like to play, which is called traditionally the Silence Druid.
Oh,
where you play
yeah.
Wailing Souls
true.
and Ancient Watchers and Roar, and then you just burst your opponent for huge damage, and it's mid game focused.
Yeah.
I'll try and let it go then, because I have kind of an irrational hatred of it because it was so useless for me in that deck that they created, because it had nothing to trigger it. Like they had no silence in there, they had no taunt in there, so it was just so useless to me. I really don't like it.
Yeah, that's totally fair. The other card we're getting is a little bit more viable. The
Desert Camel.
The Desert Camel. So 3-cost beast minion for Hunter. It's a 2-attack, 4 health, and it reads Battle Cry. Put a 1-cost minion from each deck on the field. And I remember he was in the class challenge for Hunter last week, right?
I think so.
Because it kind of worked because you were playing against a deck that didn't have any 1-cost minions, so you're guaranteed to get value, whereas your opponent won't. It's a 1-cost minion, so it's not going to be a huge... I mean, you think about... Well, no, I'm trying to think of powerful 1-cost. Okay, so if you're playing against the token Warlock Zoo, you could bring out a Reliquary Seeker from that Warlock deck.
Or their Imp, and then it doesn't do damage to their face.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, that's right. The Flame Imp would be not good. Voidwalker would be fine.
Voidwalker would be all right.
I found out all the bad ones to bring out. You can bring out the Mage's Mana Worm, which they're like, thanks. Took that out of my deck.
I don't think that's necessarily bad, though, right, Andrew? Like, Eve, like, when you pull a card out, that's thus giving you the initiative to deal with it. So, like, if they play, if they pull out that Mana Worm, and then you can trade into it after you played this.
That's true.
Like, I like the versatility of this card. It's kind of the same logic of playing Hungry Dragon. Like, I'm going to play Hungry Dragon, and then I'm going to deal with their creature.
That's true. And there's a good chance also that they don't have any 1-cost minions. I mean,
especially if you're playing against Priest.
Yeah, there's plenty of decks that don't.
Priest has 1-cost minion.
You're going to get the Northshire Cleric or
Northshire Cleric or the Twilight Well.
That's exactly what I'm getting to. But you need to eliminate their card draw.
No, you want that. You're right.
Okay, so you want it if you already have something on the board to deal with it. If you already have something else out, then it's golden, and you can immediately deal with it. But if this is your only card on the board, then you could be doing them big
It may
favors.
not be a good idea. Yeah. I would agree with that.
And you think about the 1-cost minions that you're going to pull out, you could do Web Spinner, Leper Gnome. What else is being run in a Hunter deck?
Is Wolf Rider
Web Spinner,
one?
Leper Gnome. Wolf Rider's a 3 mana.
Oh.
Timberwolf.
Timberwolf's all right. What's the other 1 mana card?
You don't want to do Abusive Sergeant.
Worgen Infiltrator, which is stealth.
Yeah, which would be fine. Yeah, that'd be good. You're gonna have to wait 1 turn, but I don't know. It's not like you read this card and you think, "Oh man, this is gonna change the game." Yeah, it's interesting. It might find a place. The fact that it's a beast, I'm sure people.
I like the body is very balanced on this minion. Yeah. Having a 2/4 is really good. So.
Well, one of the things that I heard about it, just to close up, was that it's a good card because it weeds out the 1 costs of your deck, so it makes your deck stronger going forward.
Exactly.
Sure.
Because you're not going to be pulling your 1-cost minions like on turn 7.
Out.
Yes. Yeah. Depending on which deck you're going against, though, like you said, they might not have many or any at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think this would be really good for a mid-range Hunter, like to have one of these in the deck.
It's okay.
I think that would be pretty good. Okay, so the wing legendaries, we have Archthief Rafam, 9 mana, 7 attack, 8 health, battle cry, discover a powerful artifact. The 3 artifacts, I don't know their exact names, but one of them is a buff that gives your minion, 10 attack, 10 health. Another one is like Avenging Wrath or Arcane Missiles for 10 damage. So random targets 1 at a time and up to 10 damage. And then the last one is fill your board with 3/3 zombies.
And each of those costs 10 mana, just to be clear.
Yes. Each of the artifacts do cost 10 mana.
So it's always going to be those 3, so you know for sure what you're going to... Like, you're going to want one of those. I mean, they're all pretty powerful, but depending on your situation. Have you guys seen this card played yet? I haven't actually seen... No? Okay.
No.
I actually tried to beat Rafam on Heroic.
With it?
Without legendaries. And I played him and Kel'Thuzad.
Okay.
Because I was like, if I play Archthief and he removes it or entombs it, I can play a taunt minion and Kel'Thuzad.
Gotcha.
And then they try to remove the taunt minion.
They don't, though. It breaks the AI. If you get him behind a taunt,
it didn't for me. He just killed Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, but they won't attack the taunt minion. So if they don't have a way to remove Kel'Thuzad physically, then they just sit there. It still breaks the AI.
Gotcha.
Right. It didn't really work out for me, but then you could play you could play all the zombies with Kel'Thuzad on the field, and it could be pretty powerful.
Ooh,
the other thing that Archthief did is he actually has each of the artifacts as physical cards in his deck, and he runs 2 or 3 Naga Sea Witches.
Oh, really?
So he can play these really powerful 10 mana cards for 5 mana.
Okay, that's
interesting. And that's what I think they made the Naga Sea Witch for.
I did mean to say this. I saw somebody running, I think it was a Reno deck, and so they had 1 copy of Naga Sea Witch, and on their next turn, they played Boom and Kel'Thuzad.
What?
I mean, you think about getting both
Boom
of those
bots.
on one. Yeah, I mean, it was just really powerful. I did want to throw that out about Naga Sea Witch, but I think Archthief is going to be interesting. I don't know that it's really going to be a,
it's another cool legendary that I think they're giving like more budget players that are just not interested in dumping so much money on packs.
It's not like Reno where people are going to build decks around it, but you might throw it in, and especially if you're, missing a really strong late game drop, this is going to help you extend your late game with a, maybe a control warrior or a control priest or something like that.
I can see them using this in control warrior. Because it gives you an extra card in your hand, and it gives you an extra win condition.
Yeah.
So people were saying that Nefarian would kind of function the same way, but this card is better than Nefarian.
Because
you know exactly which 3 options you have for win conditions.
Nefarian, you have no clue what you might get too useless.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if you're in a mirror match, control warrior versus a control warrior, and they haven't used the second brawl yet, you're like, well, maybe I'll pick the 10 damage to face. Or the 10 damage Avenging Wrath. Or I'll pick the 10 mana buff, and if my minion sticks, I do 15.
Sure. And I will just say real quick, the value with Brand Bronzebeard.
Oh, discover 2 powerful artifacts?
The problem would be really tough to do that without Naga Sea Witch.
Or Thorson.
You'd have to... Yeah, you would definitely have to do Thorson, because... he's 9 mana, so like you have to get Bran to 2 mana and him to 8 for it to work.
Yeah. Or he's sticky. I've played against a lot of people running Bran decks that
lived a couple times for me.
I know I need to get him off the board, but I just can't for whatever reason. If you're smart about when you're playing him, you can usually get around that. But anyway.
Okay.
But the next one is much more interesting, right?
Elise Starseeker. It's another one like Archthief for Fom, I think. Has a really interesting ability, and people are going to want to try and make it work, but I don't know if it's going to...
I think the best part about this card is it's 4 mana.
Which is fine. For a 3/5 body, I mean, you're getting a little bit under vanilla stats, so it's fine.
You may just play this just because, right?
And and just to be clear, Battle Cry is to shuffle the map to the Golden Monkey into your deck. Map to the Golden Monkey, when you draw it, shuffles the idol into your deck and it allows you to draw a card.
Wait. If you have Bran out, do you get 2 maps?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Twice the chance of drawing it.
And then when you play the idol, it's a 4-cost 6/6 minion with taunt that replaces all of your cards with legendary minions in your deck and your hand. Yeah. So it's...
Man.
I think Amaz was perfect with his review of it. He said, it's cute. Because really it's a fun card, and I think all of us want to play. I will say that I went up against somebody who was playing with it, and it was stupid. They played Elise. Next turn, map. You want to guess what happened next turn?
He drew the monkey.
I'm not kidding. Like
2 cards.
That's not supposed to happen.
Be joking.
If you were guaranteed that was the case, and I honestly thought for a second, I was like, well, I guess it didn't say like where it shuffled. Maybe it always shuffles it right on top or something, But if that was guaranteed, then this would be really interesting. But the fact that you're replacing your deck with random legendaries, they're going to be strong cards for sure, but you don't know what you're getting. So it's not reliable. It's
like
interesting.
Millhouse Mana Storm.
Yeah, it's a fun card. When you want to go in and have some fun, then you can do your rogue deck with Youthful Brewmasters and Shadow Steps and Bran, and so you can get 1 million maps in your deck and probably a million idols also.
I like that idea.
So,
I didn't think of it until you said it, and that sounds so fun.
It's not actually going to be a reliable ladder deck or anything, but it will be a fun deck, no question.
Okay, so I will be honest with myself. If I play this deck, the one thing I want is my whole deck legendaries to all be Iron Juggernaut.
Oh, nice.
And then I can continually fill my opponent's deck with 10 damage mines. Oh, that would be the dream.
That would be fun.
Or better yet, just keep playing Ronin, and then you get 3 more arcane missiles.
There you go.
It just sounds so fun. Like,
It's
I know
fun.
people are going to want to try it, even if it's only in casual mode.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we've got about 10 minutes left.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
We've got 2 more.
Away from us.
We've got our class cards also from that.
Okay, yeah. So class cards are pretty simple, not too in-depth. Mage, animated armor, basically the Steel Sentinel, 4 mana, 4/4, and your hero only takes 1 damage at a time. And then the Rogue card is Tomb Pillager, 4 mana, 5/4, with a Death Rattle, add the coin to your hand.
I think we can hit both of these at the same time and just say they're both kind of interesting, and they're both probably not going to be played.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where I would land.
You think
I
they
think they're
might throw
interesting.
animated armor into a freeze mage?
You could try,
The
but
deck's too tight.
yeah, I don't.
Deck list is too
That's-
tight.
You have to have those spells and everything. I think
Yeah.
that they're both interesting. They both have effects that are new. I mean, rogues want coins, and your hero only takes 1 damage at a time. Every class wants that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure if Tomb Pillager is going to fit in that Raptor Rogue deck, though.
no, I don't think so.
That's the only thing.
Yeah. So they're interesting,
Okay.
but that's good.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed the League of Explorers. I know we did.
Now,
And
I got to ask you a question, though. Like, how do you guys feel now that all of the cards are out there and everything?
I feel like
It's
a
hard
lot
to
of the ones
evaluate.
that came out first in the first couple wings were the game changers. Were the ones that really affected. I mean, we could wait and see a couple more weeks to see if these ones have any effect, but
I
I,
mean,
think
we'll
we
have to,
already
sure.
saw the big changes happen and
Yeah.
the big cards come out.
I think there's gonna be where's the card? Okay, so Desert Camel and Museum Curator this week are probably the big players that are gonna be hitting a lot of decks,
Yeah.
and then I think Archthief Rafam is kind of my sleeper pick.
Really?
Maybe the Curse and Raven Idol might pop in here and there, but
I just like the fact that budget players, as long as they got the adventures, now have a couple more interesting
Tools.
legendaries.
Yeah,
Because those are the hardest cards to get in the game, are the legendaries.
and they're valuable legendaries.
Yeah. So
So, as we transition into the next point, you can find all of the links to my decks and Eve's links to her tweets where she showed her decks for this wing in our show notes for this episode. And if you're wondering kind of like why we advocate doing all of these card reviews for this thing, is because we believe that adventures are the best way to spend your money if you were to spend money in the game.
Yes.
Because you know what you're getting, you have a lot of fun along the way getting them, and you have the potential of getting yourself an additional card back through purchasing. If you work really hard like some people do and do that. I will say that this adventure is one of the most creative that they've ever come up with.
absolutely.
And it's not like what I would like to say is game breaking, but it is game changing in so many ways that it just introduces the game into a way that I feel like if you look at the meta snapshot, even though there's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 of decks that you can play at different levels, the fact that there is that many freaking card archetypes for each deck is just absolutely awesome. Because I remember playing in beta, and it's like, you want to play Rogue, this is what you're playing. You want to play Druid, this is what you're playing.
Sure.
You want to play Mage,
Sure.
you're playing Mage. Like, now I can play Echo Mage, I can play Freeze Mage, I can play Tempo Mage.
It's interesting how even just Reno on his own has created
Creates a
so
deck
many
archetype.
different. Well, it created an entire new way of thinking about how to build a deck because now you've got this entirely game-changing condition that can really bridge you. I forgot to mention I've been running into a Reno Shaman deck a couple times, and it was
Whoa.
it was surprisingly strong. I was so mad that I lost both times to it, but I don't know that it's top tier or anything. But but just the fact that different people are trying those out, figuring things, it's really an exciting time when adventures come out because the game is changing so frequently, and each week, all that stuff. We'll be ready for an expansion and for 100 cards to just drop out of the sky, all that. But this was a really fun adventure. I agree.
Something else for new players, too, is I think that the adventure helps kind of stretch your mind, especially if you challenge yourself to not net deck and to look at the boss and make the decks to challenge them yourself. Right. It really helps you learn more about
grow as
cards.
A player.
Yeah, learn how to play, how to strategize of different ways to beat the boss. I mean, the one that stretched my mind was knowing that Rafam was going to take my deck. And to be like, oh, what horrible, horrible deck can I make that is just going to be really bad for him to play, and going through all the cards and thinking about it that way. So I definitely think it's worth playing the adventures also for what you can learn from it and how you can grow as a Hearthstone player.
Right. And the last thing that we'll say is this adventure is so much. It's not qualitatively better than the other ones, but it is quantitatively the best adventure to purchase with money.
For sure.
Because the other adventures are $25 for 5 wings of bosses. This one statistically has less boss fights to do and over double the amount of cards that you receive. So you definitely want to make sure that you get this adventure, however it is that you get it. Make sure you get it because it's the best value for your gold and for your bottom dollar.
Yeah. No matter how you're getting
and then
you need
it. Exactly. Okay, so I'm just gonna blast through the news if you guys don't mind. The news is there's new card backs. There's actually 4. There's a Winter Veil one that every player will get through an in-game Hearthstone Winter Veil event that's already somewhat started. They've introduced 2 new game boards and a new greeting emotion for every single character, including Ragnaros and Lord Jiraxis,
which is fun.
And then
I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, they're hilarious. The card backs are Winter's Veil, which is a Christmas one for the event. This month, we already announced that you're getting the Thrall/Shaman card back. Then next month, you'll be getting the Love is in the Air type Valentine's Day one for January ranked play. And then February ranked play, you'll get the card back that is
Thunderbluff.
What's it called? Thunderbluff. Thank you. So it's like the Totem Shaman / Tauren.
I like that one. It looks really neat.
It's very cool. And that one you'll get in February for ranked play. Second, Ben Brode, we have a link to his most recent video about power creep and basic cards. I recommend every single person that listens to our show for that reason about talking about budget archetypes and limited card pool collections / new players should go watch this. It's very informative as to why Ben Brode has made sure that classic cards are a mixture of extremely powerful cards and very weak cards so that you can learn the art of deck building, and about how every card that seems to be power creep and is directly better than another card is traditionally what they would call a basic card. So Magma Rager, Ice Rager. Ice Rager is strictly better than Magma Rager, but Magma Rager you get when you unlock the game, period. And the other one you get through pack.
It's a really interesting insight into what they want to make the new player experience to be and why they make the cards the way they do. So it's definitely a good listen. I recommend you listen to it.
It's good.
Yep. And if you guys are still locked out of Hearthstone, and you're currently using Avast as your internet blocker, I guess you could say, for
antivirus.
This thing blocks the newest Hearthstone patch in a specific way. So I gave a link to a workaround in Reddit that helps you fix it. I know I got locked out because I use Avast. And then StrifeCrow released a new video about deck building on YouTube that is very helpful for how to analyze like your conditions for winning, what your deck does, what your opponent's deck do, like what cards will work together. It's very informative.
I'm excited to check that one out because StrifeCrow is really, really good about explaining things and stuff.
Yeah.
And I, as a budget player, there's nothing more important than you being able to learn how to modify your deck, because you can't just go online and find whatever deck and I'm going to try this one out. You have to be able to see the cards you don't have and think, okay, well, what do those do that cards I have in my collection can fill those gaps and stuff. So I'm excited to check them out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say about Strife Crow and Brian Kibler is they are probably the two players in the professional scene, besides maybe even Noxious. I would even say Noxious. If you turn into their stream, those guys are all about having fun, playing decks that are either bad or good, and informing you why they are the way they are and how they play. And they're super helpful, and they always release good content that is educational. There's also a Winter Veil event that I just mentioned for the card back. That's the only reward that we know about. We don't even know what the event's going to do or how it's going to work out. If it's just a tavern brawl, we don't know.
It's Blizzard, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting nonetheless, and it's going to be fun. But we don't know if they're going to give us any more freebies.
I'm really excited about it. It is the Christmas season, so I am hoping for presents.
Yes,
I'm hoping we get some free fun stuff.
Blingtron.
Yeah.
Good one.
So Winter Veil has a classic pack thing that I guess a lot of players were upset about, but I don't know why, because it says like fine print, but the fine print's like on the main article, so it's like, whatever. But basically, if you buy 40 classic packs for $50 or the 60 packs for $70, they're just going to give you another 10 packs on top of that, but it's only for buying classic.
Yeah.
So you get a bonus 10 packs for you budget people out there. And this is even better because you can do this with coins, and coins are $40 right now. So if you drop $40, you get $50 worth of currency, you spend $50 and you get 10 bonus packs. It's like almost 30% off. It's awesome.
If you're trying to make your money stretch, now's the time to buy some packs.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
If you
Especially
were
if you
waiting
need
for the
classic
perfect
stuff.
deal in order to get the maximum amount of value for your money, this is it. And the basic cards are the best in the game to spend your money on.
I think that this is the only time they've run a deal like this too, other than like pre-ordering TGT. But but the fact that you can do this as many times as you want, I mean, if you get some money for Christmas,
that's the thing too, because you could only do TGT once.
Right, exactly.
Oh, I forgot to mention that deal extends to January 6th.
Right.
So you can wait until after Christmas and use your Christmas money. Yeah.
Be sure to plan it.
Okay. We have an email.
Yay.
Eve, you want to tackle this one for us?
From Violet Fire?
Yeah.
Hello again, Velen's Visionaries. Thank you so much for the feedback on the Druid Beast deck. Here is the deck that I created, but again would be grateful for any feedback you have. I'm currently going through Heroic mode in the Blackrock Mountain campaign. I was wondering if Rob had any suggestions for styles or classes of decks that could be used against Ragnaros, since his current LoE guides have been so helpful. As always, I enjoy listening to all of your banter and look forward to many future casts.
Very cool.
Well, thank you, Violet Fire.
Awesome.
We really
Thank you.
appreciate when anyone takes the time to send us in emails.
And give us a new nickname, Visionaries. That's pretty cool.
Violet Fire's cool. We need to have her on the show because I know she's kind of jumped from podcast to podcast, and she always does a really good job.
Oh yeah.
But, I'm looking at the deck right now, and so she's got a lot of the typical beasts that you would expect in a beast druid, with some of the flavor, things like Druid of the Flame, Knight of the Wild, Muckless Champion. So Druid of the Fang, Wild Walker. She's got like Jeweled Scarab in here and Power of the Wild, which I wouldn't have expected, but I bet those actually work pretty well.
And the Bran Bronzebeard.
And Bran. Yeah, Bran I'm not too convinced about because I'm thinking about what can actually be used. The transform minions, it doesn't matter. Jeweled Scarab, you'd get
Tomb Spider,
Wild Walker. So you got a few. I don't know if it's enough to justify. I guess they're all cheap, so you can get a late game combo out of it. I probably wouldn't necessarily run it, but if it's working, then that's great.
What do you think, Eve?
I like Tomb Spider because the Discover mechanic is proving to be really valuable. The fact that you have 3 options you can choose from generally means you're always going to get something that is good. And you can fill in gaps that you don't own yourself. So
sure,
that's kind of the value that I see in those cards.
I like
Bran Bronzebeard for double Discover.
I would probably say switch out a Druid of the Saber for a second Haunted Creeper. Just because if you play that Creeper early game, it can extend your game because you can trade it and you'll have more tokens. I would think that would really help you bridge into the mid game, which is where you're really going to shine with this deck. But cards like Muckless Champion and Savage Roar require that you have things on the board. So Haunted Creeper, Mounted Raptor, maybe there's one other. Wild Walker can help extend some of your beasts, but I think that those are really going to be the keys to having a successful.
Yeah, just looking at the curve for this deck, I think that you actually want to cut both of the Druid of the Sabers and add a second Roar and a second Creeper.
Yeah, I'd go
and then we probably, even though you don't have a lot of card draw, I still think cutting Nourish is fine because this is a very early game deck, which then means you can actually cut Knight of the Wild as well, and then add yourself another Muckless Champion as kind of your win condition, and then you have a Savage Roar and Power of the Wild, and then maybe a second Wrath would be good, and then maybe you could cut a Brand Bronzebeard for something that would like maybe another Savage Combatant or another Tomb Spider or a non-beast card that's like a token producer like Echoing Ooze from Naxxramas. I think those are really good. It's hard to say how we can help you make a beast deck better when beast druid isn't really a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really a thing if you want to get to rank 5, but it could be a thing if you want to get to rank 11. Like, I think that's very feasible. I think anybody can get anywhere, or I'm sorry, I think anyone can use any deck to get to rank 15 guaranteed. I think you can do it. It's been proven over and over again. It's a matter of skill versus an RNG kind of just get you there.
I think it's kind of a matter of having goals, right? That you guys were talking about before of what makes you happy in the game.
Sure.
And if playing a certain deck that you want to make and that you like and making it the best deck it can be and getting as far as you can with it, like if I just have fun playing a Murloc deck and I know it's not the best deck out there, but I just enjoy it and have fun when I play it, then that might be the certain thing that she's looking for is Beast Druid.
Yeah. So in that respect, those are our picks.
Yeah, that's good.
The last part of her question addressed the Major Domo / Ragnaros, and I put a link into Imgur, the list that I use. This is pre-TGT, so keep that in mind. And it's not exactly budget focused, so it has Tyrion, Kel'Thuzad, Sylvanas in it, but I used like a Equality, Consecrate, double BGH mind control tech thing with lots of sticky stuff and Quartermasters. So that's kind of how I did it. I'll let the list speak for itself, but that's kind of mid-range.
I still don't have Quartermasters. I don't have any Quartermasters.
Oh, sad. Okay, so that's our email. Andrew, we have a iTunes review.
Yeah, we do, from Sir McLean. He says, excellent show and worth a subs, 5 stars. I really love what you guys are doing here. Been listening to Hearthstone podcast for over a year now, and this one is at the top of my list weekly. Keep up the great work. We will, Sir McLean. I was talking with him on Twitter.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. Clean.
Oh,
yeah.
Sir Mr. Clean. How did I, man, dyslexia much? Man. Sir Mr. Clean. I got it. Okay. That's actually way better, I think.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your iTunes review. We really appreciate it. And that's a great segue into how people can get involved with our show. And Andrew, if you'd like to take it away.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick that, I mean, our listeners are the best. Can we all agree on that?
I couldn't believe like how many people leave reviews, how many people give us emails, the support.
Yeah.
And our newest review, which is a Patreon supporter.
Yeah, which is awesome.
If I had a soundbite, I would play it now.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing is that if you're listening to this, I hope it's entertaining. I hope it's helpful, all of that. But the truth is that this show is only as good as you guys make it. And you guys really get it. So you guys get involved and are making this thing more than the 3 of us can make it on our own. So sending emails, leaving iTunes reviews, supporting us on Patreon, even just, chatting with us on Twitter, asking questions, playing Hearthstone with us, emailing questions, decks, fun game stories, whatever. You guys really get it, and we just want to thank you guys for really making that, a priority. If you haven't gotten in on throwing us an email or a review, then now is the time to do that. We love featuring your content. So, this Beast deck from Violet and stuff like that. If you got something that you're working with, trying out, a question you have, throw that in, and we'll tell you right now how to get in contact with us.
Yeah, and special thank you, like we said on the Patreon page, for anybody who supports us on Patreon. We'll give you a public thank you on every show as long as the patrons stay low.
That's right.
And
once we have 500, we might have to change.
Once we have a few hundred, yeah, we'll cycle just a few each episode. But special thanks to Gabriel for supporting us on Patreon. I would read his review here if I could find it. He says, oh, here we go. Says, guys, fantastic podcast. After hearing you mentioned on Hearthaholics, I subscribed, and it was a good find. Please keep going with the budget player themed. I'm particularly interested in hearing more about what cards can replace legendary/epics and popular deck types.
Dude, that'd be a really good show. Actually, we could do a whole show about what are the most popular legendaries that people probably don't have, and what are some really solid common or rare choices to.
Oh my gosh, I have so much experience with that, with trying to fit legendary cards in when you don't have Antonidas, when you don't have Tyrion Fordring, when you don't have Ragnaros, when you don't have Ysera.
Because there's some decks where you have to have that card, like there's no substitution, but there are a lot of times where you can find different things that'll bridge the gap. And so I think so. Thanks for the feedback, Gabriel. I really appreciate your support, and we'll definitely keep moving that way.
That would be a good show to do.
Thank you so much for that. And thanks for Violet for sending in the email, and for Mr. Clean for leaving that iTunes review. We really appreciate it.
Sir, Mr. Clean.
Sir, Mr. Clean. And if you guys continue to leave us reviews, we'll continue to thank you. So, because we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So we'll wrap up the show by letting you know where you can find everyone. So I'll blaze through this. You can find us on Twitter, Velen's Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at Velen's Chosen Podcast. You can find us on our email is velenschosenpodcast@gmail.com. Just shoot us an email. Our Patreon, I finally figured out how to change it. So it's patreon.com/velenschosen. You can find our website with our extended show notes, where we have everything and anything for links and posts and all that jazz at velenschosen.posthaven.com. And we're on iTunes, RSS, and Stitcher. We have an esports hero code if you want to go play for some coins, where you can get 5,000 coins with Velen's Chosen 15 and no spaces. Eve, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Finnavar, FHINNOVARR, and on Twitch as Evemartyn, EVEMARTYN.
And Andrew?
I am on Twitter at Andrew's Living. You can find some arena tips on YouTube, BinacaFreak. And you can find me on Battle.net, Andrew's Live, number 1973, struggling to go up the ladder. Although I think I'm going to try this mid-range Hunter deck that I found, and because that's originally how I got up to rank 3, and I think it could be really strong right now.
I found it on the meta report, and it is in the top tier, along with mid-range Paladin and a new aggressive Shaman.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
the Trog Shaman.
I found a build that uses Sir Finley to try and either get card draw or pings, depending. So we'll see. Because Steady Shot you don't use as much with mid-range Hunter. Yeah. So that'd be interesting. Try out.
That's true.
What about you, Rob?
All right. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at NotRob. You can find me on Facebook for my design portfolio and my photography stuff as at NotRobMedia. You can find me on Battle.net at TWIK number 1198. I'm on Steam playing Rocket League with the Hearthaholics crew almost every week now.
Of course.
It's Sir Twick. And you can find my other comedy podcast is called MAYZ Podcast, and they're on Twitter and Facebook as well. That's it for us on the show. We are not to be trifled with. So it was fun hanging out with you guys today. We'll see you next week, and not all who wander on the ladder are lost. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Did I miss it?
We got that staff back.
Yes!
Stupid Rafam.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Hooray!